Hello, it's me, Alice, right there in your screen. Today we're going to do that neon eye look that you've seen in that short little video bit before this. And we're just going to get started now. And I start by priming my face and struggling to only get a small amount of primer out of this Body Shop Vitamin C primer. So much comes out of the pump. I try and press it as lightly as I can and it just shoots out like crazy, so be careful. But we're just gonna test it out right now. It does seem to smooth out my skin, at least it feels like it does, but it takes a long time to work in, primarily just because of how much product comes out of the pump. I wish I could just get half a pump, to be honest. And now I just take my number 7 foundation and just place this all over my face with my damp beauty sponge, and then we're just gonna pat that in real gently, small little motions, no like pushing it around or anything, so that will give you streaks. You just want to be gentle and light. Now we're just applying Huda Beauty foundation, faux filter foundation, along like my jaw line and the highlights of my cheeks, just to really kind of bring those forward and make my face have more dimension. My skin isn't too bad here, so I don't need too much like extra coverage anywhere. So we're just going to gently pat that in again, and then we're just going to move on to applying my Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C1 on my under eyes. Yes, really get that in. Again, we just want to be really gentle. Just work it into our existing base and cover those bags, girl. Cover them up. Now we're just contouring with our cream contour from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And we're just going to put that in the hollows of our cheeks and our jaw and our forehead, just like shrink my giant face down. You know how it is. Now we're just powdering. We're trying to set all of our hard work down, and I'm mainly concentrating on the under eyes to prevent creasing, and then anywhere where I want to set my highlight, because this powder has a little bit of pigment to it. Then we're just going to do a little bit of a powder contour on top of all of the previous contour. Don't judge. And we're using my new-ish Smashbox contour palette. It's still a tiny little bit warm for me, but we can deal with it. And I'm putting the cool tone brown on my contour areas and then using the pale yellower shade on my highlight areas. Now we're doing brows, and we're just giving them a quick little brush out before we start, and then I just fill them in as normal. You're seeing my like bad brow side. I thought it would be a good idea to show you that one. And then we just carve it out with some concealer to give it a nice little sharp edge, and blend it out with the beauty blender as well. You don't want any of those lines showing. Now we're going to do one of my fave steps. As you can see, I'm very excited, which is gelling up my brows. I love spiking up the front so much. I really have to hold back on just going all in and spiking up the whole damn brow. Then I'm just quickly following the same steps onto my other eyebrow, and I don't know why, I was kind of mad. I thought they didn't look the same, but they look pretty good now. Now I'm just going to use my broken ass highlighter.
Blinding.
But anyway, none of that really even matters because we use another highlighter shade later on. And now moving on to eyes, I take my Modern Renaissance palette and use the Buon Fresco shade as a transition colour for the other shadows to blend into. As right up next, I'm going to use a dark purple. And now taking that dark purple from my Coastal Scents palette, I just place that into my crease and try my best to blend it out. This shade has some issues when it comes to blending. After this, I've actually bought some higher quality brushes, which might help. I haven't used the shade since, but yeah, the blending isn't the best. The pigmentation though is really good. And next up, we're going to do that super satisfying bit of cutting the crease, and I'm just applying my concealer with a tiny little brush over my lid and up to where the shadow of my crease is. Then I'm taking this bright sunflower yellow from my Coastal Scents palette and applying it on the inner third of my eye. Now you can really see why I still use this palette after all of these years. Now we're taking this bright orange shade and packing that down on the middle of our lid. Then I'm mixing together a red and a bright pink magenta kind of shade and putting that on the outer third of my lid. After that, it's just a case of blending the 3 lid shades together with a soft blending brush. I have a little bit of shadow on the brush when I do this just to keep the pigmentation up. Now I'm applying some concealer on a very fine angled brush in the shape that I want the neons to be. When I reach the tip of the wing, I just bring the line along the outline of my cut crease as well.
No, don't do it.
All around me are familiar faces.
Then I just have to try and clean up my mistake from trying to be funny and do a dumb face before just adding some of the dark purple shade underneath the wing I just created. So for it to look like neon and be bright, you have to have the contrast of the darkness. Now I'm applying a bright blue shadow wherever I've put concealer. And you don't have to worry about this being really precise because you want it to look a little bit diffused, like the light's emanating from the center. Now we're just applying concealer in the same way as I did before, but try and keep it a little bit more central to where you just placed the blue, because in the end we really want there to be a strong white line through the middle of where we put all this blue shadow. Now we just repeat the same steps a few more times. I've switched over to using a white liquid lipstick instead of concealer because I want the blue to show through really strongly here. So this is the final round of applying our white liquid lipstick. We want to be super precise now, as this is how the final look will be. Then we're just applying our lid colours on our lower lash line before applying this iridescent liquid liner along the white of the neon we've just created. And also applying it along the edge of the lid where the cut crease is to really give that sharp defined look. Then I'm adding an inner corner highlight using my cream white shimmery eyeshadow.
I want to do the other one.
Just do one then.
Does anyone else get that feeling? You only want to do one eye. But we're getting on with it. We're going to finish the look now and do exactly the same thing on the other eye. I've actually just noticed I straight up forgot to put blush on. So if you're redoing this for whatever reason you might be, just put some blush on. Whatever you feel like.
I mean, if you went outside with me, it'd be alright.
So the neons are actually looking pretty good now, but my hand is looking an absolute state. Does anybody else's ever look like this when they finish their makeup? Then we're applying some purple eyeliner along our waterline and then coating our top and bottom lashes in mascara. I try and coat the top of my lashes as well, just so when I blink they look covered. Then I changed my mind about what I wanted the highlighter to be. I wanted it to match the neon theme more. So I went with this purple shimmery highlighter and just put that over the top of where the golden one was. I also added just the tiniest bit below my brow. And then we're just doing lashes. These are some Huda Beauty Sasha lashes, which I'm not sure about in hindsight. They're kind of crazy looking. And they also have a really thick band, which I'm not so much of a fan of because my eyes curve in quite a lot and they tend to pop up any lashes regardless of what type, but these ones are super prone to it, so bear that in mind. My camera actually just stopped recording while I was doing my lips, but I just applied some Revolution Soph lipstick and then put some of the same purpley highlighter on that, and then I applied a Buxom lip polish. Anyway, that's it. You did it. You made it to the end. You now have the skills to recreate this look if you so wish. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you do end up doing this, please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see. Thank you. But anyway, let's round this bad boy off. Start the montage.